What's cracking lacking, folks? It is Hoodly here, and today we're going to go over that loadout that I got the nuke with. So if you haven't seen the video that I did where I did get a nuke, I highly recommend checking that out. I'll link that in the description and hopefully put it somewhere. But yeah, this is the best setup, I think, if you are going for a tactical nuke. And I'll cover pretty much everything in the setup in this video here, and I'll try and make it as quick as possible. I do just want to say before we start this video that I have seen this class setup going around a lot. I know that I saw it on one of Ear's videos, and I saw it in Turboman's videos. I actually copied the perks from Turboman, and I found that worked really well. I'll put those two channels in the description. But yeah, there's a lot of people using this setup to go for nukes or to go for high kills because it just works so well. Some of the attachments are different because of my personal preference. I put on different attachments, but it's really up to you. Hope you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. This is the setup right here. So you can see our primary weapon is the M4, and our secondary weapon, because we're running Overkill, is the MP5. Let's go into the M4 setup. So I personally think that you should use the M4 when you're going for a nuke because it is, I think it's the best weapon in the game for the widest amount of circumstances. So what I mean by that is that no matter what happens, the M4 is always going to be a reliable gun. You want a gun that is really decent in medium distances, and that's what the M4 is. It's a very consistent gun and very easy to use. Point and shoot and you kill someone. So the attachments we have on this gun are the monolithic suppressor, because you really do want to be hidden when you're going for a nuke. You don't want to expose your position, and that makes it really easy to flank around enemies, and when you're in the enemy spawn, it doesn't really draw any attention to yourself. So a suppressor, I think, is a really key thing to have when you're going for a nuke. As an underbarrel, we have the merc foregrip. Now I use this underbarrel because it has one of the best aim down sight speeds of the underbarrels, and it also has a really big bonus to hipfire accuracy, which makes a big difference in those close gunfights when you don't expect someone to be there but they are. Hipfire really comes into play there, and it's a big bonus to have the merc foregrip. It makes a massive difference. It makes a 33% hipfire area reduction, which is extremely noticeable, and that's why I use this attachment over, say, the Ranger foregrip or the Operator foregrip. Even though the merc foregrip did actually get nerfed recently, I still think it's probably the best foregrip for the M4. I just love using it on this gun, and I mean, it's really up to personal preference, but this is the attachment that I would recommend. But yeah, the recent nerf reduced the movement speed of the gun by 1% when you're using the merc foregrip. So, I mean, it's probably not really noticeable. It doesn't have a huge impact. If you're wanting to move faster with this class, you can always switch to the MP5 anyway, which is what I do. The next attachment is the 50 round mags. The 30 round mags are just way too small, especially in respawn game modes. When there's multiple enemies coming at you, you really don't want to be running out of ammo. That's sort of one of the most common reasons why when I die, when I don't use this attachment, is that I run out of ammo. And that's one of the worst feelings, because you're sitting there trying to reload and you just get gunned down. I like to use the 50 round mags because it doesn't have too much of an impact on aim down sight speed and movement speed, whereas the 60 round mags, I find they have a bigger impact on that, and that's not something that I want to sacrifice. The 50 rounds, I don't find myself really ever running out of ammo. There might be a couple of situations where I do, but most of the time I don't run out of ammo, so I find the 50 round mags perfectly fine for me. Next we have the rubberized grip tape. Now this is to try and combat the recoil that we do get from not using a barrel, and also using the no stock attachment, as you can see here. I do think on smaller maps it's definitely worth it to run the stippled grip tape to get that extra sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. But to try and make this gun a bit better at longer ranges, I do like to run the rubberized grip tape. You's again, this is sort of personal preference. If you do like a gun that is much quicker aim down sight speed, then go for the stippled grip tape. But if you're playing on a longer range map, or you find yourself wanting to go for more longer range kills, or you find this gun has too much recoil, I definitely recommend going with the rubberized grip tape. So yeah, we do have the no stock attachment, and this is, even though it got nerfed a while ago, I still think it's probably the best stock in the game. I love running this stock because I'm very much a fast moving player. Obviously this is different when you're going for a nuke, because you do play but you sort of try and lock down an area, I think, in my opinion, when you go for a nuke. And so the no stock attachment I find is still helpful for that aim down sight speed, but you probably don't really need it as much for the movement speed. So you potentially could go with the Forge TAC CQS, but I still like to have good movement speed on both my guns. Next we'll move on to the MP5. First I'll tell you why I picked the MP5. I think the MP5 is probably the best gun in the game, especially for short ranges. It doesn't very often get outgunned, and it is just a very reliable weapon. There are definitely instances where I think the MP7 would be better, but 95% of the time I think the MP5 is a more reliable gun than the MP7, just because it hits a little bit harder, is very easy to drop people with the MP5. It's a very easy gun to use, like the M4. That's probably the reason why those two guns are in there, because they're just so consistent, so reliable, and they just do their job well. So first of all, we have the monolithic integral suppressor. Adds bullet velocity, adds suppression, which is a big thing because you really don't want to give your position away, just like with the M4. Next we're running the operator foregrip, which is a bit weird. I like it because of the recoil control, because I find that I love guns with less recoil, and it just makes the gun feel a little nicer for me. It does buffer the aim down sight speed significantly more than the merc, the ranger, and the commando, but it doesn't actually hurt movement speed at all, whereas both the ranger and the merc foregrip hurt movement speed. So I mean, if you want to move quicker, definitely opt for the operator foregrip, but if you find that the aim down sight speed is too slow, you could go for the merc or the ranger. Next we have the 45 round mags. Definitely, if you're playing search and destroy, I would 100% go with these 30 round mags, because they just kill so quickly and they do the job really well, and they've obviously got better range as well. But the 45 round mags allow you to take down multiple enemies, and I don't really think it's too playable to play respawn game mode when you've got 3 enemies coming at you all once and you don't have 45 round mags. So next we have sleight of hand. When you get the specialist bonus, you do get sleight of hand anyway, but personally I think that it makes a big difference in those first 6 or 7 kills. I mean, when you're going for a nuke, it probably doesn't matter if, like, you could probably switch out sleight of hand to one of these rear grips. Maybe if you wanted faster aim down sight speed, you go stippled, or you want more recoil, you go rubberized. But really, I thoroughly enjoy having sleight of hand. I think it makes a big difference in those first couple of kills. But then again, it's probably not worth it in the long term if you're going for a nuke, because you can easily get that specialist bonus. And in the stock, we're running no stock again, or collapsible, for the same reason. Movement speed, aim down sight speed sort of makes up for the loss of mobility that we had before. And overall, we have better stats on everything except control on this gun. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy using this. Going into the perks, we are running specialist. We've got EOD, Overkill, Tracker, and then we've got Hardline, Ghost, and High Alert as our next 3 perks. But really, we just want to get this specialist bonus, which, because we've got Hardline, comes in at 7 kills. It's really nice to be able to run Overkill and Ghost at the same time. Definitely big bonus there. High Alert saves your life all the time. The other one that I would suggest putting in, maybe instead of putting in Hardline, you could definitely put in Quick Fix. But it really doesn't matter, because once you get the specialist bonus, you have all of them anyway. Oh, I do want to cover specialist in another video. But yeah, this is the setup I'll use, and hopefully that specialist video will be dropping soon. So stay tuned for that, like and subscribe. And then we're running the proximity mine, just because when you're going for a nuke, I do think, like I said before, that you play a bit more campy, or a lot more campy, and you play more reserved, and you sort of try and lock down areas. And proximity mines are fantastic to lock down areas. Proximity mine for me works the best. I do get a lot of kills with it. And for a tactical, stim, I wouldn't pick any other tactical when you're going for a nuke, because you gotta live. So stims really help you with that, especially if you're about to die and you need to run from one area to another, unless you're gonna get killed. It refreshes your tactical sprint and pretty much fully heals you, which is really handy. So I love stims. I never really use anything else. I never think anything else is worthwhile. So there you go, that's the class setup. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think in the comments, give it a try, and let me know how it goes. Let me know what your favorite weapon is and what class setup you use. Anyway, cheers for watching, guys. Hulu is out. Bye.